It's kind of tough because I've seen contracts done for celebrities that say, you know what, every month you have to tweet 5 times. You have to post, 20 messages on Instagram or whatnot. That tends not to work, truthfully. It's kind of like if you were forcing any partner, like, this is what you have to do, right?
It's a partnership. A partnership is a relationship. It's not transactional.
Yeah, and if you can't see eye to eye with a potential partner, then you shouldn't be their potential partner. You shouldn't be partners.
In every business you've done, you've talked about having these co-founders that were doing this. Obviously, the upside to that is help and expertise that you don't have. The downside is you don't have the whole thing anymore. Mm-hmm. Has that ever bugged you? Because I know as entrepreneurs, we struggle with that a little bit, right? Anybody who's starting something, do I want to divide up the pie? Am I okay with a small piece of a bigger pie? So how has that ever been an issue with you?
No, it's never been an issue for me. Because I just figure if you get the pie big enough, there's enough pie for everybody, mm-hmm. right? And so even with LegalZoom, I kind of fell into working with a celebrity. It was more a need, right? It was when we started LegalZoom back in 99, 2000, when we started working on it, trust was a big issue online. I'm not sure how many of you guys all look pretty young, but for those of you my age or older, I mean, you realize that a lot of people are even scared to put their credit card information online, let alone to give us their social security number, their kids' names, and bank account info to make a living trust online. So trust was an immediate factor. And although I was working at a great firm and my partner was, no one had ever heard of these firms, right? So that's when we contacted Robert Shapiro to kind of be the face of LegalZoom and our third co-founder. Because we wanted people to instantly recognize, okay, well, at least I know this attorney, right, and I can trust the site. So that's how it happened. But then what happened was that Robert Shapiro started going on to talk shows and talking about LegalZoom. And every time he did that, we would get more orders. I was like, wow, there's something to this, right? We don't have to spend any marketing dollars, and we're getting all these orders. So that's when I realized the power of influencers and celebrities.
So you cold called Robert Shapiro at like 5:30 at night or something like that.
Yeah.
Just didn't know him or anything, and he happened to pick up the phone, right?
Yeah.
So that was incredibly serendipitous. And then Jessica, you met through somebody that you already knew, and Kim, I think you met through Robert Shapiro,
That's right?
So for those of us who do not have the stars aligned quite so well to have that kind of luck, if we want to attach a celebrity, how would you go about approaching that?
I would go about approaching it kind of the similar. Well, number one, you got to think of any, potential partner as a potential business partner, even if it's a celebrity, right? So a lot of people ask me like, well, what's it like and this and that. It's like Jessica's not, Jessica Alba, the actress in The Office. She's our business partner,
yep.
right? And so unless you approach it in that manner and understand that this is your partner, this is not going to just be a face to the brand. And look, you could always pay someone to be a face of a brand or go out there and talk about something, but to truly have a partner, that's a decision you have to make in terms of equity splits and how much involvement and everything else. So they're just like everyone else in terms of potential business partners. But how I would approach it if I didn't know these people directly, mm-hmm. the first thing you want to do is try to reach them directly, right? Because it's very difficult to go through talent managers and agents and so forth. And on top of that, talent managers, their jobs are to say no, right? And it's like, no, not interested. So try to use your network as best as you can to see if you could get to that person directly as opposed to through a talent manager or an agent. And if you have to go through a talent manager or agent, there are definitely some agents and talent managers who are definitely more active in terms of seeking out opportunities for their clients. Mm-hmm. And so, you just kind of have to meet enough of those people in Hollywood to understand who's who.
So we've had reasonable success by sending what we call a firm offer. So we will go direct, because agents we find are very challenging, and we'll just send a contract that says, if you sign this, then we'll pay you this much, and kind of go from there. once you have that initial contact, how do you decide equity splits and comp and stuff like that? Where do you start with that?
You know, it's when it comes to
without revealing the equity position of your business.
Yeah,
partner,
for sure.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
just generally, yeah.
How much she got? No. Like, go ahead. How much money does she make? Yeah.
So in terms of equity splits, it's really the Wild Wild West, right?
That's what I find. I don't know where to start though.
Yeah, there's no standard. There's no one says, you know, if you're a C-level actress or a C-level singer, you get this much. There's no formula.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's you know, again, it's all negotiation.
Where do you start? Or how just because I know everybody has this challenges.
Yeah.
So where do you start? Do you say 50-50 or do you say 6%? I mean, it's so. Yeah. How do you do it?
It really is. It really is. And I think a lot of it depends on how big the influencer is too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, is Gary Coleman still alive? I don't know why that name popped
Gary
in my
Coleman is not, but it's an amazing reference. So keep going.
Yeah. So if it was like Gary Coleman, okay, so I could.
He would get less
Gary.
because he's dead.
Yeah, but it's like you might give you're going to give Gary Coleman less than you would give, you know, Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah.
It's just there's a scale of
unless Brad Pitt was
influence.
willing to accept what we would give Gary
That's
Coleman.
true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen deals get done for 0.5%. I've seen deals get done for 80%. You know, which is kind of crazy, but it's all across the board.
Okay.
Depending on, you know, how much involvement that celebrity is going to have, that's the most important. Like, if you're ever going to work with a celebrity as a partner, like a lot of these celebrities have a lot of other, you know, responsibilities and things that they're working on. So you have to make sure that you're going to get the appropriate amount of time and effort from them.
Yeah, and I think the perspective that you had is a good one. They're a business partner. So I think you would almost have to approach it in the same manner that you would any other business partner you had that had a full-time job.
That's right.
So you're approaching it saying, this is going to be my whole thing. I'm all in. You're going to be part-time. Now, don't get me wrong, you're a big deal. And that's great, but I'm all in on this. This is all I'm doing. You're going to be part-time on this, and then when your agent calls and you got a big movie and you got to float and toboggan off to Hawaii to shoot for, you know, a couple of months, you're not going to be here and I am. So I think maybe that's how you would have that conversation. At least that's probably what I would have, how I would do it. And I think also thinking through, because I don't know if it was discussed ahead of time when you're talking to, you know, a Kim Kardashian, like, is it just we want to use your name, or are you going to be actively promoting it on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, or is it just you got some association and it's kind of more just a brand deal? I'm guessing that factors into it as well, right?
Absolutely. So it's kind of tough because I've seen contracts done for celebrities that say, you know what, every month you have to tweet 5 times, you have to post, you know, 20 messages on Instagram or whatnot. That tends not to work. Truthfully, it's kind of like if you were forcing any partner, like, this is what you have to do, right?
It's a partnership. A partnership is a relationship. It's not transactional.
Yeah, and if you can't see eye to eye with a potential partner, then you shouldn't be their potential partner. You shouldn't be partners, right? And so that's what I see it. It's you're either in it or you're not, right? Tell me how much you want to work on this, and let's go from there.